Welcome back to digital class, and now we are looking at our PSLE last minute revision for set number G. So definitely it's been a tough time for some of the students here. You have been doing a lot, trying your best, and it's really stressed, but I hope this video gives you some ideas and help you as you actually progress to your PSLE journey. Okay, now let's look at our first question here. First question here says that Mary glues some identical square papers in a straight line to form a length of 5.98 meter as shown below. She glued the papers by overlapping one paper on the other paper. Each overlapping part was 3 cm long. What was the number of square papers she used? So you first need to understand the nature of how these things works. If you cannot understand, probably you cannot do it. Okay, so you must understand that this is actually a square piece of paper, and it overlap with another piece of paper, and it overlap with another piece of paper. You get the idea here. Okay, so basically like this, there's 3 square paper. And you notice of course the last one there's no something like this, because there's no sticker, right? There's no something that stick on it. Okay, and first thing, I also know that this is 5.98 meter, so I know this is 598 cm. Now I know in between here is 3 cm. Correct. So how do I solve this question is that you should actually recognize that there is a pattern here. What pattern? Is that this is actually a square. Can you see here? This is a square. And I know square here is 10 cm. So here up to here is also 10 cm. Then I know this is a square, right? Okay. Then what would be the length from here up to here? That would be 7 cm. Why? Because the whole thing is 10 cm, right? The whole length here. But here takes up 3 cm. So here will be 7 cm. And if you repeat this, here will be what? 7 cm. Here will be 7 cm. And if you continue 7 cm, 7 cm, 7 cm, and at the end, you reach here 7 cm, and here 7 cm. You might be thinking again, teacher, but there's no shaded part leh. No like this leh. Because this is the last paper ma. Last paper don't have another stick like this ma. If I have that, that would be something like this. Okay. So you should recognize that there is a pattern here that is 10 plus 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7 until equal to 598. So what can you do to find how many of this paper is that you can use? Let me just repeat 5 plus 7, 7, 7, then 598. If you are actually an algebra person, probably you have already put 10 plus 7 and equal to 598 lah. Okay, but what can we do here is we can use 598, which is the total length. I minus the first 7 first. Not first 7, first 10, sorry. And this 10 basically is the first paper. Then I have many 7, right? Subsequent to 7. So I divide by 7. Then I'll be able to find out how many papers that has been added behind. And if you find out, you should get 84. And of course, 84 is not our final answer. Why? Because we don't forget the first paper. Then I plus 1. Then you get what? 85. So your final answer here will be 85, which is option number 4 in this case. Okay, let's move on to our next question. Our next question is from MGS. So let's look at this question. The figure shows 3 counters A, B, and C placed in a square grid. So John placed counter X such that it is northeast of A and northwest of B. So first thing, we need to first find out where is north first. North is here. Then where is south? South is here. Where is east? East is here. Where is west? West is here. Northeast will be here. Northeast. Southeast will be here. Southwest will be here. Northwest will be here. Okay, if I say northeast of A, where is northeast of A? So this is A. Northeast of A will be here or here, or even here. Okay. Now, I need to find another conditions that I have is northwest of B. Northwest means that it's here, right? Northwest of B will be here or either here. And if we look carefully, I must satisfy this both requirement, right? And which one? It will be here. Okay? And as the question requested, we mark the position of the counter X in the grid above by writing X in the correct square. Okay? Now let's look at B. Question B here says that Amy place counter Y on one of the square in the grid. I don't know which grid. She moved it 2 square north and 2 square east so that it landed on the same square as counter C. And now I'm supposed to mark the original position of counter Y in the grid above by writing Y in the correct square. Now, I know the final result will be placed at counter C here. But that is only after I move 2 square north and 2 square east. So if I want to find where is it originally, I will go reverse. 2 square east. If I reverse, east is here, right? It will be 2 square west. So 2 square west will be where? 1, 2. Okay, exactly the blue color shaded part I made just now. And what? Then I go back 2 square north. North is where? North is here. Then opposite will be south. So if you 1, 2, then this will be y. Okay? I have x, I have y, and we are done. Okay? Now in exam, please make sure you try to erase all these things lah. Okay? And of course, you will not color, right? You cannot bring correction highlighter in. Okay, let's move on to our next question. Very simple, 2 questions here. Okay, the next question is about speed, and it's very important for you to know speed because definitely about speed and rate question. Okay, now the first question, this question says that Vinesh drove from Singapore to Malacca at an average speed of 90 km per hour. So now I have Singapore here, Singapore. I have Malacca here, and it's from here to here. Example, okay? Now, and it is travel at 90 km per hour. This is my speed, okay, his speed. And on the return journey, okay, now it's talking about the return journey going back. He took the same road. Basically, it's the same road here, and cover 1/3 of the distance in 1 hour. So basically, I'm going backwards. So I cut into 3 parts, and my first part here, I actually cover in 1 hour. That's according to the question. Then he reduced his speed to 70 km per hour for the rest of the journey. The rest of the journey will be what? The 2 unit here, lor. The 2 unit here is what? 70 km per hour. And what happened is Finish actually took 4 hours for the return journey. Means that when he go back, he actually used 4 hours. The question now is, how long did he take to drive from Singapore to Malacca? Now, be a bit careful. The question is saying Singapore to Malacca. Means that it's the going journey, not the return journey. Okay, return journey you know already, 4 hours. Okay. Then teacher, how do we solve this? Now, if you put information like this nicely, I feel like you can see it, right? If I go back is 4 hours, I spend 1 hour here, then the rest of the journey will be 3 hours because 4 minus 1, right? It's 3 hours. Good. 4 minus 1 is 3 hours. And next, I know here is 3 hours. And according to the golden triangle rule that we learned, I have what? I have the speed. I have what? I have the time. I actually can look for the what? I can look for the distance, right? So I can look for the distance by using 70 times 3, which is 210 km. I actually found that these two unit, this 2 over 3 of the distance, actually is what? 210 km. Eh? Then can I find the full distance? Can, right? If 2 unit is 210, then how about 3 unit? I'll just do what? 210 divide by 2 times 3. And press a new calculator and you should get 315 km. Now I know this from here is 315 km. A. Now talking about the going journey from Singapore to Malacca, I have what? I have the speed, right? I'm given the speed. Now I have the distance. Can I look for the time? What is the duration? Yes, right. So I will just use what? Distance, 315, divide by the speed, 90 km per hour. And that gives me 3.5 hour. And we are done for this question. Okay, simple, easy, and but that requires us to make sure we understand the question well. Okay, and with that, let's move on to our next question. Our next question talks about two tank, and I think this is a very common question. Like, it seems like every year you see question like this in other school prelim paper. And this question here says that two rectangular tanks are shown below. So you can see there's two tanks and there's A and there's B. And each of the measurements here is given. Now, tank A was completely filled with water. And what happened? 1 over 3 of B was filled with water. Okay. Now, water flow up from the tap at tank A at the rate of 1.2 liter per minute. And for B, the water flow in at the rate of 1.2 liter per minute. Now, a very important thing you should know is this is 1.2 liter per minute. This is 1.2 liter per minute. But the difference here is one is flowing out, draining the water. One is adding in the water. Okay. But it's very kind of the question, give you the same rate. Okay. And the question now asks is, how long did it take for the height of the water to be the same in both tanks? Now, I want the water level to be the same. First thing first, I know that 1 over 3 of tank B was filled with water. So am I able to find the height here? If 1 over 3, then 1 over 3 of the height also, right? Correct. So that'll be 1 over 3 times 36. That will be 12 cm. Which means that now I know that there's 12 cm here. Okay? Now, the next thing that we should actually try to look at is 1.2 liter, right? That actually also means 1200 cm cube per minute. And that also again means 1200 cm cube per minute. That basically tells you that in 1 minute, the water actually drained out. 1 minute, the water, there's 1200 cm cube of water being drained out. And at this pace, 1200 cm cube water that's adding in 1 minute. Okay. Now, since I'm looking for height, right? I'm talking about height. Then what can I do to find out in 1 minute what will be the increase in the height for tank B and the decrease in the height in tank A? What I will be able to do is I will actually use this volume to divide by the base area. The base area here is 30 times 20. Because here 20 ma, so here 20 also. Okay? So let me do this. Tank A and tank B. Tank A is about decrease lah, okay? Then this is increase. So if I want to find a decrease in height, then just use the H lah, okay? Increase in height. Decrease in height I'll be doing 1200 divide by 20 divide by 30, and you will get 2. Then this one will be 1200 divided by 40 divided by 25. That gives me 1.2. This tells me that cm per minute, okay? Cm per minute. This tells me that, again, in 1 minute, the length of the height of the water level will be decreasing in 2 cm. Means that 2 cm, 2 cm, 2 cm after 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. And tank B, it will increase 1.2 cm, 1.2 cm, 1.2 cm every single minute. And if I want to find the example, the height of the water after 1 minute, what will be the height? It will be 40 minus 2, correct? It will be 38 cm. If it's after 2 minutes, there will be 2 times 2, 4. 40 minus 4, which is 36. So you notice, right? It will be decreasing by 2, by 2, by 2. So I actually can construct a formula here, right? I will say that it will be 40 minus 2t. What does t means? T, basically, I can assume t as the number of minutes or the time. If it's 1 minute, then it's 1 times 2, 40 minus 2, 38. If it's 2 minutes, 2 times 2, 4. 40 minus 4, 36. So that's the idea, right? I have this formula, then it will be easier. And for tank B, I also can construct kind of a formula for it, right? I can say I have 12 cm already. It will increase 1.2 every single minute. So after 1 minute, t is 1, 12 plus 1.2, 13.2. If it's 2 minutes, then I times 2, then I add together. That makes sense, right? And now, I know that this and this both represent the height of the water level, okay? And now the question says what? How long does it take the height of the water level to be the same? Now, what if this height is the same? Then what will be the time? I actually can just now put them together to form an equation, say 40 minus 2t equal to 12 plus 1.2t. And now, minus 2t and plus 1.2t. Which one is bigger? Of course, the positive number will be bigger, right? So we let the negative number go and look for the positive number. And of course, this 12, I will just move to that side. So it will be 40 minus 12. And minus 2t move there become what? Plus 2t. 2t plus 1.2t. And now you should get 40 minus 12, 28. 2t plus 1.2t, 3.2t. And you will find out that t is equal to 28 divided by 3.2, which gives you 8.75 minutes. And what does this tell you? This tells you that in order for the height to be the same, see, the height to be the same, the time it needs is 8.75 minutes. Then it will be the same. Okay? Yes, and that is basically about this question. Okay, with that, let's move on to our last question. Feel free to pause the video if you need some time to write it down or you need some time to digest what I've just said. Okay, let's move on to our next question, which is Nanyang Paper 2, question 17. So there's a question 17 here. Now, let's look at this question here together. The figure below is made out of a square ABCD and a semicircle DOC and two overlapping quarter circles DCB and ACD. DE is equal to EC. So let me just quickly write this down first. DE equal to EC. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Because they are all radius. So even OE and EF must be the same. F is a point on arc DOC. This is called arc. OE is a straight line. And the length of EF is 50 cm. So here's 50 cm. And if here's 50 cm, here will be what? 50 cm. Then here will be what? 50 cm. Here will be what? 50 cm. And even with this, you should know the length here is actually 100 cm. Why? Because two radius form the diameter, and the diameter here is actually the side of the square. That's why it is the same. Question A, we are supposed to look for the area of the semicircle, DOC. Now you know the formula of a circle is pi r square. Square means r times r. In this case, it's a semicircle, so we put half pi r square. So that will be equal to half times pi, and in this case, pi is 3.14. And radius is what? Radius is here, 50 square. So it's 50 times 50. And if you press on the calculator, you should get 3925, and this is in cm square. Yes, and we are done for question A. And let's look at question B. What does actually question B are saying here? Question B says that find the difference between area X and Y. Find area X and Y, but mainly their difference. Now, are you able to find what is the shaded part of X? Are you able to find what is shaded part of Y? I mean, you may be able to do so, but it definitely will take quite a while, and perhaps it's not even your level to look for that. So in order to look for that, we actually can make good use of the space that we have here. And for my students, you should be thinking and getting of this immediately, because we have been practicing a lot of questions about this, right? Even in your prelim questions, you might see you have actually see something like this. So you see, in order to do that, you should have an idea of this. Example, X, Y, Z. Are you able to get the area of ZY? If you look carefully, right? This is the square, and this is the semicircle, and cut like this. This is Z, this is Y. Are you able to look for ZY easily? Kind of easy, right? How? Because you actually can just find the square, find the quadrant here, then you minus with a semicircle. Then you'll be able to find here Z and Y. Then now, if you want to look for X and Z is like this, right? And if you just look carefully, X is here, Z is here. So you just need to find the square and minus the quadrant. And teacher, but why do we need to find for this Z and Y and Z and X? Then that comes to a very important idea here. The goal is to look for difference between X and Y. In this case, it's Y minus Z. Why? Because Y is bigger than X, right? Y, yeah, Y minus X. And because Y is bigger than X, so it's Y minus X. And we can't really find Y, we can't really find X. So we make good use of Z by using Y and Z. I find Y and Z, then I find Y and X, then I minus. But teacher, why you need to find Z? Because that helps us to make it easier. But will it be the same? Yes, because Y minus X. How about Z? Z minus Z. Z minus Z become what? It disappears. So now left with what? Y minus X. So which means that what I'm trying to say here is you actually can look for the area here, Z and Y, and look for the area here, X and Z, and you can just what? Minus. Then you should be able to get the answer for this question. So let me just quickly repeat here. My goal is to use Y to minus X. And what can I do here is I find Y and Z first, then I minus X and Z. And E is actually the same thing. So first thing first, how do I look for the quadrant here? Here. It's very important to look for it, right? Because I need to find here first, then I minus a semicircle. So to look for the quadrant here, I need to use 1/4 pi r squared. And 1 over 4, you know what is it? You know pi is 3.14. But what is the radius? The radius is what? 100 cm here. So there'll be 100 square. So press your calculator, 1 over 4 times 3.14 times 100 square. That gives you 7,850 cm square. Okay? Now, I now want only this part. I don't want the semicircle anymore. So what is the semicircle? I know that it's 3925. So what I need to do is just 7850 minus 3925. And you should get the value of 3925 in cm square. Now I have done looking for zy. Now I'm looking for zx. So that would be a bit easier actually. What is the area of the whole square? Basically, I know the side is 100 cm, right? So that'd be 100 times 100. So you get 10,000. Okay, 10,000. Now, but I want only this part, right? Z and X. So I should minus with what? I should minus with the quarter circle, the quadrant here, the big quadrant here. And I know the big quadrant here is actually the same as the quadrant here, which is equivalent to 7850. So I'll use 10,000 minus 7850, and that gives us 2150. Again, this is in cm square. This is also in cm square. Okay, now I was actually found this x and z already. And my next step, as you know, again is what? Use yz or xzy minus xz. Then I will get this final answer. So last step, 3925 minus 2150, and that gives you 1775 in cm square. Yes, and we are finally done with this question. Honestly speaking, it's not a very difficult question, but rather it's actually a kind of common question. So if you feel this is difficult to you, you are supposed to try to get to practice more about this question. And the same thing for the previous question about the volume of water. It is actually very common. Almost every year we'll see this kind of question in prelim paper. Okay. Yes, and we are done for this set number G, and I hope you learned something. And please try your best, and most importantly, please take good care of yourself. Okay. Thank you. See you